Welcome back. We have a new guest today. Her name is Carla. She called me on, I think, the 5th of August of 2021 with a very serious condition. Carla, please tell the listening audience what you were told by the doctors in the ER the day before you called me.
Yes, I went to the ER because I had chest pains in the middle of the night, and it was very concerning. So I decided to find out what it was. So I went to the emergency room, and they wanted to screen me for COVID. I didn't have COVID, but they wanted to make sure and take a picture of my lung. So they took a picture of my lungs, and I'm sitting waiting for the results. And in the emergency room, my private emergency room. And the doctor comes in, and so I immediately start asking questions about, what they found, why my chest was hurting. And the doctor just kind of cut me off. And he says, don't worry about your chest or your lungs or anything like that. He says, you need to worry about that mass that you have on your pancreas. And I was just stunned. I had no idea. And also, I'm very conscious of my health. I'm a health coach. And so I was just really dumbfounded. And he just really said, you need to follow up with your doctor. You need to focus on that. And he walked out. And I was really there just in a stupor, just shocked. And so I was thinking about what had happened to me a couple of days prior to that, which I, at the time, just thought it was pure coincidence. But one of my dear friends, Ariana, she had invited me to a clubhouse to listen to you speak, Dr. Vincent. And I didn't know anything about you. I knew you were from Michigan. I'm from Michigan. So I said, okay, I'll find out what Ariana is up to. And on the night that I listened to you facilitate a call in Clubhouse, a woman named Flora, she gave a very powerful testimony about her brother having a mass on his thyroid, on his throat, that was huge, and how you worked with him and got it resolved. And so I had just kind of like packed that in the back of my consciousness, but after the doctor said that, I was like, oh, I've got to call Ariana. I've got to get in touch with Dr. Vincent. And so I called Ariana, and she told me, oh, Dr. Vincent is having a class this weekend. So I just stopped my whole life. I got on a plane, came out to Chicago from South Carolina, where I live, to attend. And that's where I got my first treatment from you, Dr. Vincent. And in the meantime, I started doing other protocols that you had talked me through, and Ariana had told me about the RAIN products. And I started doing my own research about the RAIN products, and I saw just on YouTube, having really nothing to do with you or Ariana, that other people had testimony about the RAIN products and how powerful there was. One of them that really moved me was a woman who had a brain tumor, who was scheduled for a surgery and never got the surgery because the tumor resolved itself. It dissolved.
You know
and
what?
It was
and Carla,
yes.
we want to keep the product's name off this recording initially. I want them to contact us. But however, so you were, not just one doctor told you that you had cancer of the pancreas, another one walked in also and tell them about that doctor.
Absolutely. So after I called Ariana and left a message to try to connect with you, another doctor walked in, and that doctor came in, and he was about having a stress test, because it was initially what they said when they first brought me in, that I needed a stress test. And I was asking him about that. He said, oh, don't worry about the stress test. You could come back and have it another time. He says, you need to worry about that mass on your pancreas. He said, did they tell you about that? I said, yes. I said, and I am confused. I don't really understand it. I don't have any symptoms. My pancreas works fine. I mean, all my biometrics check out, my A1C, my fasting glucose level, and I don't have any pain. And he said, pain? He says, cancer has no pain. And he turned on his heel and he walked out. So crazy, just craziness.
Now, Carla,
I was very.
now you have a family history of people dying of the cancer of the pancreas. Is that correct?
Right, and I wasn't aware of it at the time. So right after that, I got in touch with my mom, and I just kind of started going through like what happened to my Uncle Jerry, what happened to my cousin Annette, what happened to my great grandmother, and also an uncle. So it was like 5 people in my family who either died from pancreatic cancer or had some kind of severe disease that they ended up dying from that was related to the pancreas. And so I realized that, yeah, I do have a family history, but even to this day, my family doesn't see it as a family history. But the work that you do around breaking ancestral health patterns is profound. And I know, like looking back, I know I got in touch with the right person at the right time because I wasn't even aware that that was a thing, ancestral patterns. But I did later find out that that was going on in my family. And so the good news about my whole story is that was on August the 5th. I was scheduled to go back to get a section contrasting MRI with a radiologist to check on my pancreas. So this would be the picture where their protocols would be put in place. But this was after 6 weeks of me working with you and the nutritional products that you recommended for me, and you doing your Thotapy treatments with me, 2 in person and 3 remotely, or actually it was more than 3 remotely, and me doing several protocols that you had designed for serious disease resolution. And so after 6 weeks of doing everything you told me to do, Dr. Vincent, I went back on September 21st and I got section contracting MRI, and they could not find any mass. The mass was gone.
Now keep in mind, you had the same cancer that killed the billionaire Steve Jobs, the same cancer that killed Aretha Franklin, the same cancer that killed very wealthy people that modern medicine couldn't do anything for. And I just coached you. I didn't heal you, I coached you. I said, I have a program that I put together for serious disease program that we won't go over today. There's several things you had to do. And you took these products made from seed.
Yeah.
From seed. But it took some work and it took some finances. But with the time and energy and the money you spent that 6 weeks, do you think that it was worth it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was very aware of what it is to have pancreas problems. And I was very scared. I was very nervous. And so I was committed. I did every single thing you told me to do. I made even a calendar, a schedule for my protocols, and got my whole family involved in helping me with it. And it was definitely worth it. Yes, it did cost money, but I'm here and I'm alive and I'm doing well. So money is immaterial, really, when you think about it, when it comes to your health.
Now you also become a student of mine, and you're becoming good in taking care of pain now, right?
Yes. I have been able to, like you said, support a lot of people in my community, my friends and relatives with dealing with their pain. And at first, I started practicing what you were teaching in class, in person, and then I started doing it remotely. And the treatments that I've been doing with them through Thotapy, and also, again, I'm also recommending the same thing that worked for me, the seed technology, the nutritional products that are very high quality, and they have been seeing results. And I'm only a student, since August, and it's just early November. So I feel like my whole life has been changed. I've been able to help people and support people, help myself, help my family, and I feel like my life has been changed for the better. I'm very, very excited about this work.
So you had two months of class. You had a friend of yours who saw surgeons, had a schedule for surgery, 12 years of education versus 2 years of class. they saw surgeons had her prepared for surgery. Was it her knee or something, or a hip? Your friend? Tell us about that.
So I have a friend who has a very stressful job, and she called me in the middle of the night, had hip pain, scheduled for surgery, and we had been talking about it. But at that point, I said, "Hey, let me do this treatment on you. Let me try to
over the phone, right? Over the phone,
right,
correct?
over the phone. Like, she lives 1,000 miles from me, and so, and she's not, she's. I don't think she has started the seed or the technology, the nutritional protocol. She was just wanting, to see if this could help her, just the remote treatment. And she was a 6.5. She couldn't sleep. She couldn't lay on her hip. She was flipping around, and that's how we ended up talking in the middle of the night. And after about, I would say, 10 minutes, it was gone. And it's been 3 weeks, and it's still at a 0. And it was a 6.5 in terms of a chronic pain in her right hip.
And the pain part was there for years, and you got rid of it in 6 minutes over the phone. Now, is she still scheduled for surgery? What's going on with that?
Yeah, last time I asked her, she was not thinking about surgery. She's no. I mean, she's done with that. And I feel good, because it's like, this was just something that I did just actually to practice what you taught me. Mm-hmm. And it's going to save her. I mean, the surgery was going to take months out of her life, and of course cost thousands of dollars. And now she doesn't need the surgery. She's fine. No pain.
Now, would you recommend everybody that hearing this conversation that we're having to contact us about the seed nutrition, to contact us about getting trained in this technique?
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many people out there suffering with pain, chronic disease, and, just like a lot of people in my family, we feel like, oh, we have to take medicine, we have to do, but there are alternate ways, there's alternative methods of caring for people that are available and affordable and doable, and also brings the power of our health back into our hands. So I highly recommend it. I recommend it to anyone who wants to be well, who wants to get out of pain.
So you had something that causes a lot of death. That's 1 out of 9 people make it. Something that a billionaire Steve Jobs money could not correct. Something that a woman worth $20 million money couldn't correct. And you did it yourself through coaching by me having you do some things that took some work, time, and money. You did the work, spend the time and the money, and you got your life back. How does it feel getting your life back without having the C word attached to you?
Oh, it feels good. I feel victorious. I feel confident. And it makes me want to spread the word, because I feel like a lot of people are unnecessarily suffering because they don't know about this. Mm-hmm. They're not aware of you or thought therapy or the seed nutrition, and really it's the missing link to people being more empowered about their health. So I feel good.
And I'm going to have the owner of the company today on this program. And I want him to go over, when I called him with you, what should you do? He said, do these twice a day. And I didn't know what's going to happen, because why? I get phone calls from people, very well-known people, that have this disease, and I tell them, I have nothing for you. But I was doing the seed company, only about a month in the company. When you called me, I asked them, what can we do for her? And he said, Dr. Vincent, we had people that had brain tumors that did these products, and they can't find them anymore. So mm-hmm. I asked her, I think that you was on the phone with me when I called them, what can she do? And you did it. And now you have a testimony. I want to thank you, Carla. Thank you. And
thank you, Dr. Vincent.
You're an excellent student. Keep on learning. Okay, thank you, Carla. Thank you.
Everyone wants to be healthy, and we should be. Our Creator designed an amazing, complex system intended to allow our body to heal itself if We give it what it needs. For example, if you cut your finger, it bleeds, a scab forms, and it heals. However, when our body does not receive what it needs, it begins to talk to us. It talks to us through symptoms or physical manifestations of disease. So, if your body is talking to you, you need to listen to Dr. Michael Vincent. Start your wellness journey today. Visit Dr. Vincent's website at www.vincentclinic.com or dial toll free 888-842-3935 or 888-84-BEWELL. Be well.
Hi, my name is Dr. Michael Vincent. I'm here to discuss the true epidemic in the Black church, which is diabetes and obesity. What I'm finding in my practice, the patients I'm seeing with diabetes is loss of eyesight, blindness, loss of limb, a leg or foot, amputation, erectile dysfunction, hypertension, kidney failure, heart attack and stroke. And diabetes has a friend. It's called obesity and a cousin called hypertension. This is the true epidemic in the Black church. I teach my students the sickest place on Sunday at 12 noon is the Black church. The diabetes, the hypertension, the obesity. I'm here to bring to you some good news. We got something called seed nutrition. Seed nutrition. Go back to the seed. I teach a course called Therapy Systems, something I created. It talks about that the seed of disease, the seed of diabetes, is lack of sweetness ancestrally. That diabetes is 87% thought and 13% nutrition. You will learn as you watch us, people who are diabetic for 6.5 years, taking blood sugar 400 to 600, 6.5 years, A1C 13 to 18.2, very, very high, 6.5 years, taking metformin twice a day, plus glucophage twice a day, plus insulin once a day, and the blood sugar stayed at 400 to 600, and the A1C stayed 13 to 18 for 6.5 years. When she learned the true seed of her diabetes was the thought of lack of sweetness, the thought of lack of sweetness, of being slavery ancestral, the thought. You're gonna hear her testimony. She took something called a Vincent vibration water and addressed the thought, the seed of her diabetes. Overnight, her blood sugar went down to 89 without medication, overnight, off of all medications. We have some seed nutrition that we used that people are getting rid of diabetes in 2 weeks. So please join us, follow us, and learn how to change your life. I have another caller. I got a phone call about this caller about 6 weeks ago, and I was told that this caller seen many, many doctors, and no doctor can find out why she couldn't walk. Many, many doctors, over 400 doctors. I thought 400 doctors she's seen couldn't walk. And I have her on the call now. Hi, Mr. Hare, how you doing?
I am well, Dr. Vincent. How are you?
Fine, thanks. Tell them how many doctors you've seen and who have you seen?
Yes, I have seen over 400 doctors. I've seen Dr. Sadie, Dr. Wallach, Dr. Carrick, the Mayo Clinic, Johns Hopkins University, University of Penn, Emory. I've seen all types of medical doctors, internists, neurologists, acupuncturists, Chinese herbs, Reiki masters, and on and on and on.
And
So,
all the
yeah,
doctors came to one conclusion. What was that?
that there was no reason I should not be able to walk.
Now
I
you
mean,
have
I've got a portfolio of MRIs, X-rays, blood tests, and they say, they don't know.
Now what
Why?
started all this? What happened?
Well, what started it is in 1993. I was living in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I was going to a business meeting, traveling down the Schuylkill Expressway during rush hour traffic. Traffic came to a stop. I was able to stop, but the gentleman behind me was not paying attention, and he slammed into me, maybe at 65 miles per hour. I don't know. It was rush hour traffic, and it was rolling. And I didn't think I was hurt, but I felt an internal shaking. My hands were shaking, but inside, I could feel everything inside of me shaking. We quickly got out, exchanged information, and kept moving because traffic picked up again. And I got off at my exit, which was very close, and went to the nearest police station, made the report, and went home, canceled my meeting because I felt this serious internal shaking. Went home, went to bed, and woke up the next day in excruciating pain. Called a friend to help me get to a doctor, and it just began. I began to limp on the right side, and over time that limp turned to a drag on the right side, then the left side, a limp drag, and then I went from a limp and drag to a cane to a walker to a wheelchair by 2004. It's just a slow deterioration. And I've been in a wheelchair since 2004, and all the doctors. I mean, I ended up a doctor I saw. I moved to Atlanta. My daughter needed support. I needed support, and I began seeing doctors here in Atlanta. Emory, all the best neurologists and neurosurgeons and orthopedics. I've seen everybody, and I was seeing chiropractors. And this one chiropractor took great interest in me, and ended up being my husband after a year. We got married, and he thought he would be able to correct my issue. He said, I'm going to help you walk again. I mean, he did so many things, and then when he couldn't figure it out, he began taking me to all his teachers. I mean, north, south, east, west, and everything in between. And they all came to the same conclusion. They didn't know why I couldn't walk, because everything checked out that I should be able to walk. I didn't have lupus, MS, Lyme disease. I mean, they tested me for everything. But so that's what led to all of that.
Now, I met you about a month ago, and
Yeah.
you told me something that happened to you at age 6. Tell us what happened at age 6.
Yes, and I tell all the doctors same thing. I tell them my current 1993 accident, and then I also add that at age 6, coming home from school, I used to get beat up by 2 little boys. One would hold me, one would punch me in the stomach, and they'd throw me in the street. So I went on the opposite side of the street, which I didn't have to go on because I lived on that side, to avoid them. And as I was walking down with my girlfriend to her corner, I had to cross back over to get to my house, and I saw that the little boys were gone. So as I was crossing over, it was shift change for General Motors. I lived in good school, grew up in Flint, Michigan, and Buick having a shift change, so it was pretty heavy traffic. But my father taught me how to cross the street, so I looked both ways and just waited and waited. And the gentleman in the slow lane, as we call it, near the curb, he stopped, a car full of men, and he waved me on. And I'm like, okay, this is an adult. He knows what he's talking about. So I took off running, and the car in the outer lane, I ran out right in front of him, and he ran over me, hit me, drugged me a block. And the next time I woke up, I had been in a coma for 2 weeks, and I had a cast from my shoulder to my foot on the left side of my body. And I was like, I don't want this cast. This cast is horrible. I can't move. I don't need it. I tell my mother, who worked in the hospital that I was in. She worked in the lab, and I kept begging and pleading with her to tell the doctor to take the cast off. I didn't need it. And the doctor told her she's just a kid. She doesn't know what she needs. She has to have it on for at least 12 weeks. Her bones were crushed. And I kept begging and pleading and crying to my mother and all the nurses, please take it off, I don't need it. So finally my mother put her foot down, and the doctor took it off reluctantly, but I was healed. All my bones were healed. I mean, they were amazed, and all the nurses would say, let's see, there goes the miracle baby, or let's go see the miracle baby. And I was like, I'm not a baby, but I didn't know I was a miracle at that time. So that was the beginning of everything. But I had a normal childhood. I ran track, went out for cheerleading, and just did everything a kid would do. Grew up, went to college, got married, had a family, and never had any physical or health problems at all.
Until you got hit by that car in 1993.
And yes, that changed everything.
So when I saw you,
and
I saw you as a patient, and I tested you through a surrogate. You're in a wheelchair. I got a strong,
Yes.
healthy fella, and tested
Yep.
his body, strong, tested you, and you were very strong. And 400 doctors said that there's no reason why you should be walking. Your brain and nervous system is all intact. It's all normal. And I said the same thing they said. I said, I'm in agreement. But then the
Yeah.
Lord told me to tell them to get you out of the wheelchair and put you on the table. If I was there with
Yeah.
you by myself, I would have never have been able to put you on the table by myself. You follow me?
No.
On the table. And they did on the table. And God said, take my right hand and swipe your brain down to your heart back to age 6. You haven't had no pain in your body for 28 years
Exactly.
whatsoever. When I swiped your head down to age 6, what happened?
My body lit up. I was in pain from head to toe. I couldn't stand for you to touch my head. You had just done some cranial, touching my head and massaging my head, and it was no problem. You kept saying, where's the pain, where's the pain? No pain. But when you swiped my brain to my heart, it said 6 years old, I couldn't stand for you to touch me. I had pain everywhere. I was amazed. I was like, oh my God, and you touched my feet. I thought I was going to kick you in the mouth. I mean, my leg jumped and my foot kicked. It was amazing. And I mean, ever since that day, I've had sensations and feelings of pain. I mean, I woke up one morning after you gave me a treatment, and my left side of my face began to twitch. And I never had a twitch. I'm like, oh my God. For about 5 or 6 minutes, I was like, oh my God, what is, I kept feeling it. I was like, what is this? It's a twitch.
Now,
So yeah, my body just came alive, woke up, pain everywhere, sensations. It was amazing. It's like just waking up, coming alive.
with your background, your husband being a doctor, if I would have told you that I can treat somebody that you don't know in Michigan, lay her down and treat her for you in Atlanta, you don't know her, in Atlanta, what you would have said to me?
I would have said, you out of your mind. I would never believe you. If I hadn't experienced it, Dr. Vincent, I'm telling you, I would have called you a quack.
You know what? So anyway, so I laid her down, Robin down, and I treated you, I laid on the table, and something called Enoch. I do Enoch treatment. I call it spiritual surgery on you through Robin. And I laid on the table, and I walked down the street, walked down the street, and I said, the car just hit you. And you hear how she screamed when it hit her?
I did. I mean, she screamed, she wailed. Oh my God, it was amazing what she went through.
And then, and you watched how violent her body was, like screaming.
Yes.
And then I said, now you hit by the car, and the car dragged you for a block. But now she's screaming real loud. I mean, very loud. And I said, you're in a coma.
Yeah.
She would quiet immediately into a coma state on the table, right?
Out. Yes.
And I thought that I was finished. I told folks that I'm already on 15 hours of work. I have to leave Michigan to take care of a patient in Chicago in the life vest, a friend of mine's, for her heart. I drove to Chicago at 4 o'clock that morning, got back to Michigan at 6 p.m. to give you a treatment. I said, I'm going to leave her in the coma. I'm going to drive the hour home and take her out of the coma while I'm on the road. You can these hands has powers in these hands on the road. I tried to take out the coma on the road, and she would come out of the coma. And God said, you're not finished. I'm not finished. then God said that your being hit by the car at age 6 is linked to 1857 in your long bones. Your great 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 grandmother was drugged by a horse and buggy by the lips. When I said that, what happened to you? What went through your head?
I was amazed because when I was hit by that car at age 6, the fender of that car somehow wrapped on my lip on the left side of my body and pulled my lip from my face. And, they stitched it up, and I had this, I called it a horrible scar over my lip for, for all my life, from age 6 forward. And when you said that, I'm like, my God, my lip. You were like, what does the lip have to do? I was like, my lip was pulled from my face. And you told me my great-great-great-great-great-great-grandmother in 1857 was pulled by her mouth and her lips by a horse and buggy. That just floored me. I was like, this is
And
too
there's
much.
no way that I should have known that, correct?
No, you didn't know that because I hadn't told you that.
And all this is working, this is spiritual energy, spiritual information. So now, you've met me, you took some of our classes, and you've seen people in class in severe pain for years gone in minutes, right there, in minutes.
The pain gone in minutes. It's amazing. I mean, I saw it with my own eyes. I saw people walking better, holding their arms up where they couldn't even lift them before.
Frozen
They
shoulders
had
unlocked in
eyewitness.
what? Minutes.
Yes, in minutes. Yes.
And so, so would you recommend people that hear this conversation that they follow us on our platforms, follow us on our YouTube channels, follow us on social media to learn this technique?
I highly recommend anyone with pain or any kind of discomfort or anything to follow up, because this is going to be the place you get results.
Now,
Dr. Vincent, I also want to add that all the coincidences that I was in Flint, Michigan, got hit on the street that I got hit on, finding out that you were from Flint, Michigan, and you grew up and still live on the street that I got hit on.
and it's the thing, the amazing thing that you got hit 4 years before I was born on the same street. And when I saw you, I said, I know this lady spiritually, but not physically, spiritually. I know you spiritually. I had to call you. I know you from somewhere. No, not knowing that you got almost killed on the block I live on now, you're a total stranger in a different city. That connection. Now, Thahara, about a week ago, Thahara, on our conference calls, we had men, they're discussing diabetes. And I was shocked at diabetes and how they taken the seed nutrition, diabetes for years, and it's gone in 10 days. And then men in front of women saying that my ED's gone. I was shocked.
Yeah.
But you heard those men discussing that on that call, Thahara?
They did.
I thought you had ED. You had ED. They never told me that.
See?
Until it went away with the seed nutrition, the ED's gone. And I tell them, you don't got to tell me. If you diabetic for some time, got hypertension for some time, had a heart attack or stroke, or on dialysis, you're a man, downstairs, stop working. You don't got to tell me. I know it already.
Right.
Got to tell me.
Right.
And like I tell them, like one fellow said, Dr. Vincent, this diabetic program is expensive. And I told him that you needed to spend $260 plus tax for you to correct your diabetes, your hypertension, and your ED. And he did it. When it was gone, I say, so now you have a brand new car, and your car insurance is $300 a month. So if you get diabetes and lose your vision, you can't drive it, can you? How about have a stroke, you're paralyzed, you can't drive it. How about lose your legs, you can't drive it. And if you get on dialysis, you could drive it to the doctor to be dialyzed, you follow me? And he laughed. I said, so this is more important than your car insurance. This is insurance of your future, of being healthy, folks.
Your life.
Your life. So Tahira, I'm so glad that we met. And so rehash, you saw over 400 doctors, and none of the doctors you saw, Dr. Sabi, Dr. Wallach, and you spent all your retirement money trying to get well,
Yes. Oh my God, I did.
trying to get well.
Yes. It's
The Mayo
yeah.
Clinic, I mean, all these huge, well-known hospitals, and none of them got the results that you got from me. It took only 5 minutes to get the results, correct?
Exactly. Exactly. Oh my God, yes. And I want to say that I'm looking forward to getting my products this week. I've ordered them. I'm a distributor, and I am going to be on them and going to help my husband with them, who also needs some help. And I'm just excited about all of it. I really feel like you're my last stop, doctor.
You know what?
Looking forward to getting
And
out
I
of this
can't
chair.
wait until you get on the Seed Nutrition and you
Yeah.
take the Seed Nutrition vitamin D. I can't wait
Yeah.
because why? I know for a fact with the vitamin D, if you raise it high enough in the body, COVID-19 cannot affect you. Cannot affect you. Listen to Dr. Fauci, cannot affect you. It gives you a fighting chance to beat it. So everybody hear my voice. We have a special seed-based vitamin D. Seed-based. And you heard the testimonies of people having levels of 9 or 10, and they take our vitamin D for a month, it's 89. It would take them years the other way of doing it. And so definitely this year, I'm excited because why? I never thought about a seed nutrition. I've done the essential oils. I've done the
Right.
noni juice, the zango, I done all the juices.
Absolutely.
I've done the roots. I've done the leaf. I've done
I've done it too.
everything. I never thought going back to the seed that made it.
Wow.
Isn't that powerful? The seed that made the stuff. The seed that made the CBD, I did CBD oil. And to know that what we got now is up to 30 times more powerful than that,
Amazing.
and to know that we have one product that we take, all natural, has in black cumin seed in it, other things in it that the owner company going to talk about in a couple of minutes. That's 200 times more potent than aspirin. And the seed that made the black cumin seed, I thought, oh my goodness, this is ingenious, because why? My Thorby systems technique states that the seed of disease is 87% thought and 13% nutrition. Now we have a seed of the seed attached to it. That's powerful, Tahira. I mean powerful.
Yes, it is.
So I want to thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. And I can't wait till we can go for walks together, okay? I can't wait. Okay,
Thank you, Dr. Vincent. I can't wait either. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye now. Okay, bye.
Everyone wants to be healthy, and we should be. Our Creator designed an amazing, complex system intended to allow our body to heal itself if we give it what it needs. For example, if you cut your finger, it bleeds, a scab forms, and it heals. However, when our body does not receive what it needs, it begins to talk to us. It talks to us through symptoms or physical manifestations of disease. So, if your body is talking to you, you need to listen to Dr. Michael Vincent. Start your wellness journey today. Visit Dr. Vincent's website at www.vincentclinic.com or dial toll-free 888-842-3935 or 888-84-BEWELL. Be well.
In this segment, I'm going to discuss vision, the problem with the eyes, diabetic neuropathy, glaucoma, cataracts, and blindness. I have on a special guest with me, Mr. Taylor. Mr. Taylor, you there, sir?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Now you had a vision problem, and you called me about a month ago, And that evening, we were helping someone over the remote, over the phone, that had COVID-19. She had a migraine headache at a 10 and pain down her spine. And over the phone, with this technique, we got it down to a 0. We're exciting call. And then you said, Dr. Vincent, can we do vision tonight? I said, of course. And tell us why you asked me that question that evening, Mr. Taylor. What was going on with your vision that evening?
Well, I had just come from the hospital that evening, and I have an eye chart on my wall, and I noticed I couldn't see the big E on the wall. I could see silhouettes of people, but I couldn't see that big E.
So the big E
So
mean
that's when I had to have.
the big E mean that you weren't even 20/200 vision. You were
Right.
legally blind, or really considered blind
Right.
at that point. So you have a history of, what's your history with vision, Mr. Taylor? What brought you there?
Well, I was diagnosed in 1994 with glaucoma, and I rocked along, and I had to quit work because I couldn't pass my physical. I drove an 18-wheeler, and I couldn't pass my physical in 94, so I had to retire from that job. 2005, the vision went completely where I couldn't see at all to drive. Met you in 2011, started the process of working with my eyes, and we got them back to where I was able to see 2030. And then when I went in the hospital September 2nd and got out on the 4th, that night I noticed I couldn't see the big E on the thing, which was at that point it was 20/200.
And that
And
night, I started with you on a technique that the Lord gave to me. I call it the vision technique, getting back your sight technique. We did it over the phone. You couldn't see the big E, and 5 minutes later, what was going on with your vision?
I was able to see the third line on the eye chart.
What 2060 or 20? What's that?
2050.
2050. And then a week later, we got down to 2040.
No, a week later it came all the way down to 2020, but it left and went right back up to 2030.
And so 2 weeks after being legally blind, you did the vision technique, and you take a special eye wash. Tell them about the eye wash that I make. What'd you do with that?
Yeah, we call it Vincent barbation water, and what I do with that is put it in a little cup and put it over my eyes, and I count to 60, and moving my eyeball around. I pour it out and put some more water in it, rinse it out, put some more water in it, and do the other eye, and I do that 2 to 3 times a day. I spray the Vincent barbation water in my eyes 3 or 4 times a day.
And you also, we're not gonna mention the product's name, but you also take also the seed nutrition at the same time, correct?
Right, taking the seed nutrition at the same time.
So now let's rehash. You was 20/200 vision. You couldn't see the big E clearly. In 2 weeks with the seed nutrition, with the vibration water and the technique, you were 20/20 and 20/30 bouncing back and forth in 2 weeks.
Right.
Now,
2 weeks.
What would your doctor say about that if he knew that? Would he, would he believe it?
Go along with it. He wouldn't believe it.
So now you have
would not
glaucoma,
believe
and people that's going to hear this conversation will have glaucoma, or cataracts, or diabetic neuropathy, even blind. Would you recommend that they take this protocol and do it? The seed nutrition,
Definitely.
the vibration water
Definitely.
technique, the protocol?
Definite, take it.
So now,
It's worth it.
and we do the eye technique in groups. And this is why you folks should follow us on our YouTube pages, follow up on the seed nutrition page, follow us in groups. So let's rehash. You went to the doctor, had an x-ray taken, and you lost your vision after an x-ray, correct?
Yes.
And they said that it got nothing to do with the x-ray, and you say, well, I can see before the x-ray, right?
Yeah, I was seeing before the x-ray.
And every time,
Reason-
x-ray, glaucoma since 1994, a truck driver, That means that you lost your way of life. You lost your finances due to vision. And you invested time, energy, and money. You bought the seed nutrition.
Right.
You take the vibration water and do the technique.
Right.
The technique.
Right.
And now right now you bouncing between 2020 and 2030 right now, back and forth?
Yes, back and forth. And basically what I do is when I look at that 2020 and it's moving, I just go back to 2030 and stick with reading 2030.
But can you imagine being 2,200 a month ago, even probably 2,300 a month ago, and now you're 2030 to 2020 in 1 month? Can you imagine
Right.
that?
Yes, I imagine because I'm seeing it. I'm doing it.
And a lot of church folks are going to hear this, who wear glasses,
Yes, sir.
who have stigmatism, cataracts, glaucoma, diabetic neuropathy, even blindness. Would you recommend that they do what you're doing to get their vision back?
I recommend it 100%.
Well, I want to thank you, Mr. Taylor. Thank you, sir. And I can't wait until you get to 2020, then 2010. Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Dr. Michael Vincent. I'm here to discuss the true epidemic in the black church, which is diabetes and obesity. What I'm finding in my practice, the patients I'm seeing with diabetes is loss of eyesight, blindness, loss of limb, a leg or foot, amputation, erectile dysfunction, hypertension, kidney failure, heart attack and stroke. And diabetes has a friend. It's called obesity and a cousin called hypertension. This is the true epidemic in the black church. I teach my students the sickest place on Sunday at 12 noon is the black church. The diabetes, the hypertension, the obesity. I'm here to bring to you some good news. We got something called seed nutrition. Seed nutrition. Go back to the seed. I teach a course called Therapy Systems, something I created. It talks about that the seed of disease, the seed of diabetes, is lack of sweetness ancestrally. That diabetes is 87% thought and 13% nutrition. You will learn as you watch us, people who are diabetic for 6.5 years, taking blood sugar 400 to 600, 6.5 years, A1C 13 to 18.2, very, very high, 6.5 years, taking metformin twice a day, plus glucophage twice a day, plus insulin once a day, and the blood sugar stayed at 400 to 600, and the A1C stayed 13 to 18 for 6.5 years. When she learned the true seed of her diabetes was the thought of lack of sweetness, the thought of lack of sweetness, of being slavery ancestral, the thought. You're gonna hear her testimony. She took something called a Vincent vibration water and addressed the thought, the seed of her diabetes. Overnight, her blood sugar went down to 89 without medication, overnight, off of all medications. We have some seed nutrition that we used that people are getting rid of diabetes in 2 weeks. So please join us, follow us, and learn how to change your life. Hi, my next guest I have on the phone is a student of mine and also a patient of mine. And when I first saw her, I was shocked because I learned of her autoimmune disease in school, but I never seen a patient with it. And when I saw her with a mask on, her unable to talk, having ulcers in her mouth for months, couldn't eat and couldn't talk, and with her seeing over 20 doctors trying to get well, when I saw her, I thought, oh my goodness. Angelique, tell them what you was going through when I met you, please, if you don't mind.
Sure. So in college, I had to leave college because I began to have health problems. The doctors sent me home to go and get my health figured out around 2013. And I started realizing, I had seen at this point about 19 doctors, and everyone had a medication, but there was no consistent diagnosis. So immediately I began to freak out and started to feel like I was a guinea pig. I moved from Maryland to Florida, back to Maryland, to New York, back to Maryland, to Atlanta, back to Maryland, to Dallas, back to Maryland. And this is all within a 10-year span. And every time that I got home, it seemed like my mouth would begin to break out. I began to just I even moved in with the doctor I was studying and administrative assistant to. And, I just couldn't figure it out. So the last time that this happened, one of my close friends, Nurse Sharon Cole, she happened to call in the midst of me going through this. I was probably about a month in at that point, month and a half. I called onto the clubhouse, and immediately you were able to identify that there was thrush in my throat and esophagus. You were able to point out the probable cause, the emotional probable cause, and the pain was relieved instantly.
And this was done over a system that we never met.
Yes, never met, never seen my face. You don't know my story, any of that. So immediately, I believe in energy. I believe in miracles. And I knew I had to call back in if something was to happen. I began to tell other people to call in that I knew was in pain immediately. And then you told me about your course in Chicago. And I didn't know how I was going to make it there, to be honest with you. Been unemployed since I was forced to move back from Dallas.
How many months was that? How many months?
Over a year.
And
about
and you have
March 2020.
not just mouth, you have mouth ulcers. What couldn't you
Yes,
do because of the mouth ulcers?
I could not speak. I could not eat. I could not kiss. I could not smile. I just couldn't do the simple things. When I would speak, it was drool. I'm walking around the house with a handmade bib, trying to hide from the kids and my family and friends, and just it's always in this I don't know. It was always in the space of I don't know, because it took years for them to diagnose, of course. In January, they finally diagnosed it. And come to find out, my mother and my sister also gets these mouth ulcers. So praise God, I was able to be introduced to your class, your community, your teachings. And I felt like this instantly became a modality that I can use not only to help heal myself, but my peers, my family, and my tribe.
Now, when I met you, you were in severe pain. How much pain you had in your mouth there I met you?
And probably about at 8.5, 9. And I say that because it was different things going on. You had the lip ulcers, you had tongue ulcers, I had throat ulcers, thrush on the tongue, thrush in the esophagus. So it was excruciating pain. The thrush burns. My ears were ringing. My face was inflamed. I had lost over 40 pounds. Not being able to hold anything.
And we're not mentioning the products you used, names, but you used a vibration water or some other products you used.
Yes,
You
sir.
took the class, and I told you one of your problems is not able to speak up for yourself with
Yes.
the mouth.
Speaking up for myself. Yes.
And so you had pain at a 8 or 9 in the class. And about a week later, we were on a conference call, and you started talking. I didn't know who you were. What happened in that 1 week period with your life? After learning the technique and after getting on the Seed Nutrition and the products I gave you in the vibration water, what happened?
Well, when I went to the class in Chicago, you did a treatment on me. You did a couple different treatments on me. And the one that I remember the most is the B flat. You put my tailbone in back into place. You did B flat on me. And when I got off that plane from Chicago back into DC, it was like my frequency, my energy just felt lifted. And even my fiance was like, you know, like you're different. And I knew what it was. I knew that my frequency had now been, you know, back into its proper.
I want to go over what you said. No, I put it in true B flat. Your tailbone is out of alignment. That's the body's guidance system. And that guides the body back to good health system. True B flat. So now, a week later, on the conference call, you said you asked a question. I didn't know who you were. We all were shocked because what we saw the week before was totally amazing for you to be speaking normally. A week later,
I had the vibration water. I had the I don't know if you want me to name the products.
No,
but
don't name the products. Yes.
Okay.
I want them to contact us, but however, the vibration water, the Seed Nutrition, contact us because people go and get that off the internet and get the wrong thing. Okay, the wrong thing. Internet.
Right.
You know, so a week later, you were talking. How much pain? What happened to the ulcers you had for 4 months? How much weight did you lose in 4 months? You're already thin. 4 months.
I lost over 40 pounds.
So you're very thin when I met you. And a week later, what was going on with your life a week later after you got your body back to proper vibration, got on the vibration water and the Seed Nutrition? What happened to your life a week later?
I was able to wake up to my fiance and give him a kiss.
And you could do that, and you could do that in how many months?
It was 3 months. 3 months, you know, of just kind of sadness and it was a really dark space, honestly, because, you know, I couldn't eat. I you know, my family didn't want me to go to Chicago. No one wanted me to go because they felt like I wasn't strong enough to make it there without no food on my body, without anything in my stomach, you know. So I'm grateful. The teachings, Dr. Vincent, have now propelled me in a way where I have some of my own clients at this point.
Now,
and right now I'm also practicing.
Go back. You became a student of mine. And we were in class that Friday, and I asked anybody, call anybody in the world that you know who are sick, and we're gonna help them over the phone. And you call your 87-year-old grandmother in DC. Where was she at, your grandmother, when you called her?
She was at the hospital. I had no idea.
At the hospital. For what reason?
She had coronavirus. She had pneumonia and asthma. And her asthma and stuff is so bad where if she was to come to our house and if we use a powder for your carpet, you know, grandma was going to an asthma attack. Like it gets triggered very fast.
So
when I found out she was in the hospital, it was alarming. And
she was coughing like horribly. And she was in a hospital room bed with COVID-19 in pneumonia, a very sick woman. And I told you that you can treat anybody, anywhere, from anywhere on the planet, correct? On the planet.
Absolutely.
You're a new student. You don't know me or this technique. And because we just had class for 3 hours only, we called Granny and we gave her a remote treatment for COVID-19 over the phone. When I say treatment, we didn't heal her. We put her body back in proper vibration.
Exactly.
And what happened?
And immediately you can hear her, as Dr. Vincent is instructing her on what to do, you immediately hear her beginning to cough up phlegm. I mean, and it was like to the point where me and others in the classroom are like tearing up because it just happened so fast. And you could just hear her throwing up mucus. Grandma still to this day, I checked on her this morning. She said her lungs, she felt like she has brand new lungs.
Now, and then this was Friday night in the hospital. On Sunday night class, I get a update on Granny. Granny told you what about her lungs 2 days later?
She said she feel like she had brand new lungs. And I think from that point, she moved on to the medication that they had gave her in the hospital had begun to make her constipated. So then you gave her, some other directions of what to do nutritionally to combat that. So, Dr. Vincent, thank you. I don't know if people are giving you your flowers, but your work is phenomenal. It's appreciated. I'm not in your peer group, so understand that you're reaching people that are younger, and your work will live on.
Now, right now,
thank you so much.
You came to me as a patient in need and a student, and now you have your own clients. Tell us about that.
I do. So, my boyfriend, my fiance, he has brain damage from a car accident. One of my siblings has a life-threatening disease, and a lot of my friends are starting to pop up, and my parents, different things are happening. So now that I have a modality as far as orthopy, I'm able to, help people relieve their pain. But right now, I'm more so, I haven't charged nobody yet, Dr. Vincent. I'm just practicing right now because I want to strengthen my work. I want to strengthen it so that, I can do this one tap over the phone.
Now, you said one tap and pain is gone? One tap? Isn't that amazing?
I haven't reached that level yet.
Wow.
I know that I can, but I'm building up my catalog of information and channeling, just wisdom, and I'll talk to you off the line. There is a client that she's blind, her liver is failing, kidney, and she hasn't been able to walk. Her organs are turning green and black. Dr. Vincent, I did a treatment just to show her what it was on her feet. She's like, it's working. It worked.
Wow.
She was able to walk into dialysis and not take her, what's it called? Something codeine, something Oxycontin. She said, I didn't have to take my Oxycontin today.
Wow.
She said this is her first time walking into the dialysis center in months.
Wow. And this is where we're going. And this is just the beginning. And you just reminded me that we have to call another guest today that you mentioned the one tap, that he's in a wheelchair. And the guest, you met him in the last class, the veteran that came to class in the wheelchair that worked at a gas chamber, that was in and out of the ER every day via Rebalance, pain at a 10 every day. They put him on all this high-powered medication, get it down to a 7. Imagine having a life pain at a 7 for last 15 to 20 years. And I had a student on July 8th, had a class the day before, a 1-hour class. And I met him. I called her. I said, he's in a wheelchair for 4 months. His pain's at a 7. He's on medication. It's at a 7 because of the high-powered medications, but really a 10. I told her, take care of it. Now, she only had an hour class with me over the phone, and she did a 30-second treatment on him over the phone. He was up, walking around, touching the floor, pain-free. So I want to call him next. I want to thank you, Angelique. Thank you, and God bless you, and you're a blessing.
Thank you, Dr.
Your testimony is a
much.
blessing.
And we want to bring you to D.C., so please, let's put that in the books.
Okay, no, we talk about it. Okay, thank you.
All right.
Okay,
God
bye.
bless.
Okay, bye. Thank you for tuning in for today's show. I hope you learned that pain is 87% thought and 13% emotion. You heard the testimony of Lawrence, in a wheelchair for 4 months, back pain for 20 years, seen 20 doctors, 8 to 10 neurosurgeons. And one of my students took an hour class a day before, treated him over the phone remotely, and he was pain-free in 1 minute. On today's show, you also heard from the owner of the seed company. Talked about the power in the seed, not the oil, like the CBD oil, not the oil, like the essential oils, not the juice, not the root, not the leaf or the plant. The seed is 30 times more potent than any of those. On today's show, heard the power of the seed in helping folks with diabetes, of the seed of helping folks with hypertension, of the seed helping folks lose weight, of the seed helping folks with COVID-19, of the seed helping folks with psoriasis, eczema, of the seed. And thank you for tuning in, and please join us tomorrow.